Ugh, what are you doing? Come back.
I don't know. I almost fell out. What's going on,
Right.
everybody? It's your boy Corey, and that is Mignon, and we are back with another wonderful episode of Tea and Worship. Now, if you just now joining us, like I've told you before, I don't know where you've been, but we are the show where we give you just an amazing sit-down chat with some of the best artists in gospel music and in just music, period. And we also get an amazing performance from them at the end of our show. So we know you gotta, if you got your tea, come on and make sure you watch us and get your tea, but you also get your word as well.
Absolutely. And because you guys are so amazing, we always try to make sure that we bring amazing talent. And I believe that we have not failed y'all yet. Everybody that has gotten this platform has been incredible. And I'm so looking forward to today. I can't wait to get started. But we just have to thank all of our supporters and all of our viewers for staying with us for this long. You guys have truly been amazing. We wouldn't be who we are and where we are without you guys. So don't forget to continue to tell everybody about Tea and Worship on the Hope TV that we are on every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tell everybody because we need you. Okay, we need y'all. Okay, so I'm so excited about today. I'm so excited about who we have with us today. This young man, he's incredible. He's a husband, he's a father, he's a singer, he's a pastor. The list goes on. He's a life coach. It just goes on and on. You've heard his voice on several different records. You've seen him on major platforms. And I mean, I'm looking forward to sitting down with him and sipping tea with him and seeing what he has to share and seeing what's coming up. I mean, so I'm gonna stop talking. I just want to welcome to the Tea and Worship stage, to the platform, the one and only Pastor Courtney Franklin. Whoop, 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 whoop.
What's up?
Hey,
I
what's
hear the
going
crowd. I hear
on,
the crowd.
brother?
Yeah. Hello. Right. How are y'all?
Welcome. We are good. How are you?
Honored to be here. I'm excited to be here. I love tea and worship, and I've been waiting on my chance to get in the virtual chair. So here I am.
You are here, and we are elated to have you. I was telling Corey, I said, me and Courtney got history. We've been on each other for quite some time. I can't
Long.
remember exactly who introduced
It's
us.
been.
I
It's.
don't know if it was
uh,
Lisa No.
I, I- no. Ted and Sherry.
Ted and
Ted and Sherry
Sherry,
introduced us when
because you
your
were singing
first
with
record.
them.
Your. I was singing with them. And I remember
Wow.
Ted saying to me,
And
"You
I
got to
mean,
hear this girl." I remember Ted telling me, "It's like you
crazy.
got to hear this girl. She is incredible." So, and when I heard it, I was like, "Oh my God, where does she come from? The precision, the
Look,
ear,
this
the placement."
the same place you came from, because when I first heard you, I was blown away. You were like hearing you was like hearing Daryl Coley for the first time. It was like, what in the world and why in the world? Like, crisp,
You're
your
kind.
decisions. No, and I'm dead serious. And then to put the icing on the cake, being able to be on this road with you, work, singing with James Fortune, like it has been amazing. Like the person that people see, you know, you're that person behind, behind the scenes. Like you're consistently this person right here. Like you're an incredible friend. You know what I'm saying? You're an incredible brother. It's just incredible to know
Oh,
someone like you, and I'm just simply honored to say that I know Courtney
thank
Franklin.
you.
How does it feel to have, done all the things you've done? Like, what was your experience? What were some of your memorable moments working with James Fortune?
Definitely Africa, right? Africa was really
Mm,
good because we got to see different culture, and and James is such a professional. Of course, you've been with him much longer than I, and just to see him adapt to that type of a platform and still maintain his personality and integrity and be effective, mind blowing. Loved it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
Stellar taping also was
Mm-hmm.
good with James because it was gruesome, long day of work, but it was excellence personified. And of course, you were
Mm-hmm.
Maddie Moss Clark. Now, for those of you who don't know, Mignon is she is our vocal producer for the records, but she's also our boss for vocals on the road.
I'm
So
just
I
old. I
call
just been
her.
there for.
You know him. I mean, you know
Yep.
him inside and out. So that's why I submitted to it. I mean, she's Maddie Mouse Bolton Sarton.
But that's incredible though, because
Yep.
of a man of your caliber, you were very humble and like you were like whatever I said, it was like you being that you're a leader, and some people don't know how to do that. If they're a leader, they try to be a leader in every door. But it's like you submitted and humbled to that moment, and that's very incredible and honorable of you. Yeah.
Where you're competent. So when there's competency in place, there's no need to flex. I mean, you were the senior person of Fire, and you know that format. You've done many records with him. What did I need to come in and just do anything but acquiesce? So I'm glad. I'm honored. I learned a lot and still learning from that experience.
Well, I thank you. Look, this
Well,
interview ain't about me; it's about you. And so, what? We go shoot Corey. Go ahead.
no, but Mignon can be Maddie Mouse Bolton Sarton when she want to be. That's for sure, because she gets us together every other week. So Pastor Franklin, I shared this with Mignon, but I first actually heard your voice on the song "I Believe" years ago with Kevin Davidson and the Voices. You were one of the leaders on that song, and I actually had to sing that song with a group that I sang with in college, and I was like, I can't sing
Really?
this song. Do you hear this, man? Do you hear this? Yes. But I was blown away. I was literally blown away by your voice. I mean, the first time I heard the song, I was just like, oh my God, this is like Mignon said, you were like a Daryl Coley um, to a lot of people, to me as well. But who would you say helped shape your sound? Because I feel like you have your own distinctive sound. Who helped shape that?
So, quick little plug on I Believe, right? I Believe was the first song I ever recorded in my life. And I
Wow.
was 17 years old when I recorded it,
What?
senior in high school. And it was a duet with Lisa Page Brooks. And
Mhm.
I did not find out that she was singing on the song until I got to the studio. So I had been rehearsing that song by myself. And when I got there, they said, "Oh, by the way, this is going to turn into a duet. You're going to be in the same booth with Lisa." And I was like, "Oh my God!" And I wrote it. So it was a
Wow.
conglomerate of things that were shocking about that song. Yeah. Uh, who shaped my sound? Undoubtedly, Ted and Sherry. I have a great influence on the way I sing. I remember hearing Ted as a teenager. We're from the same city, and he and Shay Norman were just two voices that I just had never heard anything like that. And so I began to just study them, study them, study them. And then when they asked me to come sing with them, I was like a kid in the candy. So like, y'all want me to sing with you? And I would say Ted Cherry for sure. Definitely Daryl Coley. Definitely Vanessa Armstrong. And undoubtedly Kim Burrell. Even though I'm not as jazzy in my approach, there is a jazzy side of me. When you hear my record that's coming out, you'll hear that I do have a love for Take Six, jazz, that whole approach to music. So I love Kim. I would say those are the main shapers of my sound.
Yeah. You definitely can hear those. Like with your song, We Made It, my God. Like your choices on We Made It, your range on We Made It, like it's
I
incredible. I
like,
hope you understand why we say Daryl Coley. I hope you understand
yeah.
that.
I mean, I'm first of all, you know me, man. I'm not pretentious, so I'm really flattered that y'all would say Derek Cole because, in my opinion, he is one of the greatest voices of the past 50 years. Like Derek Coley is a Bible, a vocal Bible. but I'm definitely influenced by him. I've never thought, even tried to compare myself to be in the lane where he sings, but undoubtedly I listened to him choices. He was the person who started me to want to sing a cappella. He was the person that
Mm.
wanted me to use my bottom register. Derek Coley was that guy. So I that's an honor. It really is. It's an honor.
I, w- I want you to share a little bit of the history of We Made It.
So We Made It started out as my single. So coming out of, I believe it did well all over the country. Of course, this was in the days before iTunes, before Billboard gospel charts. So we were just traveling the country singing that. I sang it everywhere. And coming out of that, I went into a solo record. So in 2003, I released my first solo project entitled We Made It. Right. Well, the name of the record was Time, but We Made It was a signature song off of there. It was just a song that my buddy had written, David Gillard, and I needed a churchy song on my album because I had a mixture. I mean, my first record has every style on it. And so I was like, I need a churchy drive kind of song. So he gave me that, and we would put it out in 2003, sold 7,000 units out of the trunk. And then
Wow.
I started preaching. I turned my focus to learning exposition and learning hermeneutics and homiletics and apologetics. All the principles of preaching kind of came off the singing thing until James called me about 6 years ago. I just really wasn't doing it. I was focused on preaching. And when I felt the Lord release me to do new music, by this time I had a son. My wife and I had a son that was born premature and spent 60 days in the ICU, in the NICU. And so all of my friends start saying, you need to redo Lisa knows, Sierra, all of them. You need to redo We Made It. I'm like, that song is old. I'm on to something else, a different sound, blah, blah, blah. And then the Lord said to me, it's C2's testimony. That's my baby's name. So I flipped the arrangement. I added a verse. I added a tag. And then that's what we have with the new We Made It.
Whew, my goodness.
That's
He's at
crazy.
home doing
And
fine.
what's so amazing about music, especially good music, when it's relevant or when it has, especially with a music with a message like that, it could be 50 years from now, it could be 1,000 years from now, it's still going to be good. And I'm so glad that you didn't just throw that song away and that you brought it back, because we got to sing it with you at House of Hope, and we almost didn't make it through the song trying to sing it with you. It's so awesome.
Well, I,
So awesome.
I actually I actually, Corey, want to say this to people like that are in my position, aspiring artists and that kind of deal. You don't ever need to assume that because you're tired of a song that the consumer is, or that the person that's coming here. Tremaine Hawkins is still singing Changed.
Hmm.
Y'all don't hear me. Dottie
Yep.
Peoples is still singing On Time God.
Yep.
So, and Mignon she knows this better than I. But even in my tenure with James, people are still requesting, demanding, I trust you. No matter how many other number one songs he has out, we go some places and they like, no, we didn't hear I trust you. And so you cannot get tired of a song because there's always going to be a demand for something that God has put his imprint on. Every generation is going to need what Moses said. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me bag out. I
So
feel
good.
something else. Okay. Okay. All right.
Oh my God.
That's so
I
good.
love that
That's
though,
so
and
good.
then the song became a testimony for your son, and we're gonna get into to some things about your family as well. But before we do that, I want to talk about the fact that you have signed with Pebble Street Records, the artist, I mean the label that our pastor E. Dewey Smith started. So tell us about that. Tell us about that collaboration, and tell us about what that's been like for you.
So I want to be very clear and concise with this. Okay. Here's another testament to people that are in the aspiring artist role like me. You in one day, God can turn your life around. I'm telling you. I went out on faith, recorded my album, spent my own money to do it, but I used the best of the best because I wanted it to be sonically good. I wanted to take my time and make sure it was good. And so I finished the album, and then when I finished it, I'm like, okay, Lord, I don't have any marketing money. I don't have any nothing. And Tracy Bethea called me. She's a program director at one of the uh, most prominent radio stations in the country. 95.7 Hallelujah FM in Memphis. And she says, I just got a PR that Bishop E. Dewey Smith is starting a record label. You need to call him. Well, I had his number because he and I had exchanged notes, and I deal with preachers. So, we converse through Instagram, that kind of deal. So I called him and got no answer. I was like, maybe he, how you assume that people are going to lowball you because whatever. And so the next day he called. Hey man, I've been in Africa, out of town, Europe or somewhere. And I got your call. I told him what I wanted. He said, send me the song. Just pick one song. I don't have time to listen to a whole album. If you're going to send me one song that you want me to base my decision off of, send me the song. I sent him We Made It. He hits me back the next day and says, my team is going to kill me. But I'm telling you now, if the paperwork looks good for you, you have a record deal. One day. One day. So between the time that Bishop confirmed that he would partner with me, within 1 week, 7 days, I had executed a contract. I called Heather Beverly, said, look, this is what I need, blah, blah, blah. I had executed a contract, and we were on a Zoom meeting with Bishop's team at Pebble Street planning the release of the single. So that's the story. He's a legend. He's a preacher par excellence. He's a visionary. He's innovative. And I am excited that he took a risk to help further what God has given me in music. Thank you. Shout out to Bishop E. Dewey Smith.
Look, y'all, it's getting so good. It's getting so good. So excited. Look, we got to shoot to a commercial, which I hate right now, but we got to shoot to a commercial. We're going to come back with our pastor, our brother, our friend, Courtney Franklin. Don't go nowhere because it's getting good, y'all. We'll be back.
Where do you think the root of problems lie when it comes to creating stable, loving relationships?
You attract basically who you are. So if you want to attract a better partner, become a better person. And if I'm grinding, setting myself for building my family wealth, generational wealth, it would be not right for me to be with someone who actually has a spending problem.
Well, you better. Yes, sir.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantore here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
We're talking about healthy aging and healthy living.
I'm so passionate about feeding your skin the truth. And the truth is with fruits, vegetables, and all type of herbs. And that's really my motto, is feed your skin the truth.
All right, y'all, look, we are back with our friend, Pastor Courtney Franklin. Look, he said something that was amazing. It only takes God like that. He don't need a long time to make it happen. It takes him the blink of an eye. He can make that thing happen for you. So don't give up, y'all. Don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up on what God has for you. Hang on tight to the word that God had for you. All right, look, Courtney Franklin, thank you so much again for being with us today. Your relationship with Pebble Street, I'm so excited. What can we look forward to? What's coming out of this collaboration?
So, and I want to be very transparent about this. Bishop was, and I think we mesh so well because we're both straight shooters, very blunt, very brunt, and we get along well because we don't dance around. We just talk. And Bishop told me, he said, look, man, I've been successful as a preacher. I've been successful as a pastor. I know very little about being a record executive. But if you're willing to walk through this with me and let me learn what I need to learn, and we're going to start off with my album, and I'm going to get all the kinks out the way, just like a father. I'm going to get all the kinks out the way so by the time your record comes, then I would know some things that I didn't know. So what you can expect from my album is a booster shot from what you saw with Bishop's album. He's learned some things. He's been able to navigate some things to make it easier for the little brother coming behind. And my album's done, and my new single just went to radio. It's getting ready to be a situation. I'm telling you, it's going to be something. And of course, Bishop knows everybody, so he sent the whole record through his, his team and his people that he trusts, and they've approved. So it's gonna be good. I think you're gonna like it, man. It shows a different layer of who I am vocally.
Yeah. I'm excited. I can't wait to hear it. Look, y'all, we know Courtney loves to preach. He loves to sing. And we know he has a new single called Send Us Peace, which we're gonna talk about a little later. But I gotta dive into the family man. You mentioned
Oh yeah.
the journey with C2, and I mean it just warmed my heart to see your love and how you teach your children to love on him. Can you just share a little bit of that journey? Because I know it has its ups, it has its downs, So could you just share a little bit of that journey being the father of
Yeah.
C2?
Yeah. So my wife and I were with my mother-in-law purchasing her a new car, and I remembered, oh baby, you have a doctor's appointment today. And she was like, let's just help mama get her car situated. We'll reschedule. But my Holy Ghost, see, I don't violate that Holy Ghost. My Holy Ghost said, mm-mm. Now, my wife was in no pain, no complications, but the Holy Ghost said, get to the doctor. We get to the doctor. They start the, ultrasound. And the nurse, I saw it on her face that something was wrong. So she immediately stopped the ultrasound, left out of the room, went to get the OBGYN. He comes back in and says, get to the hospital right now. They'll be waiting on y'all at the door. We still don't know what's going on. We get to the hospital. They rush my wife back. They said, we have to do an emergency cesarean right now. There is no amniotic fluid in her belly.
Jesus.
Huh? None. Zero. None. So they do the cesarean. C2 is born unresponsive, purple and blue, with 6 pounds of fluid built up on his body. He's dangling just limp. So I'm jumping into super husband mode because I don't want my wife. She's on the other side of the sheet. She hears no baby crying. She starts saying, what's wrong with my baby? I'm telling them, get him out of here. Right? So they're trying to resuscitate him and move him at the same time. She's still saying, what's going on? What's going on? I'm calming her down. He's okay, baby. They cleaning him up, blah, 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 blah. For 60 days, we stayed in the NICU. And of course, by faith, we bind the spirit of death. We decreed that C2 was coming home. He came home. When he came home, I decided that he was my favorite child. Okay. And some people, before you give pause to that, just let me unpack that quickly in 10 seconds. Zoe, my oldest child, had been my baby for 13 or 14 or 15 years before C2 was born. So she had gotten every layer of her daddy by herself forever. Okay. So our relationship was tight. C2 came, he needed such because he has cerebral palsy. And that was an effect of him being 3 days in the womb with no amniotic fluid. The doctor said if we had waited another day, he would have died that night. Okay. So I taught my kids, because now we have a 1-year-old, which is getting ready to be 2, Coco, and I've taught them C2 is the centerpiece of our home. He has his own room with a flat screen TV. He has a $12,000 bed customized. All of his food is masticated, so he has his own pantry. We treat him. My wife buys him clothes every month. C2 has never taken a step. He owns 35 pair of shoes. He is nothing. We don't treat him abnormally at all. And so my joy for the day is coming in, picking him up. He lights up like a Christmas tree when he hears my voice. And I take him to the barbershop. We just do normal stuff. I'm a basketball buff. I take him to the gym with me, and I let him sit in his wheelchair and watch me play. He's my baby. So it's not his fault that he was born this way. And we love him, and he has a village, and all of our house love C2. He's just the man.
Wow,
Oh my
man,
God.
brother, that's that's
Man.
incredible. It's such a warming story. Like it's, and I know you've shared how you grew up without a father, so you overly show your love for him because of the you not growing up with a father. Am I right to say that?
Absolutely. And I've always been, I don't know if you know this about me, Young, but I've always been an athlete. So I started playing on the school team in the 7th grade. I played through college. As a matter of fact, I went
I
to
didn't.
college on
I didn't know.
basketball scholarship. Yeah. The thing that hurt me the most was I was looking forward to having a boy so I could teach him how to play ball. I could teach him how to dribble, teach him how to shoot. And then the Lord had to remind me, he's not mobile right now, but he's alive.
Whew.
You need to thank God that you didn't have a funeral and love on the portions of him. So guess what C2 did give me though? He loves music. And Mignon, this is a true story. If my wife is watching this, she'll be able to confirm this for you. From the time that I feel, boy, hold on. From the time that we brought C2 home for a long time, I don't know the exact amount of time, but I know it was over 6 months. The only songs that would calm him down, this is a true story. The only songs that would make him tranquilized were Kiara Sheard's Indescribable. I don't even know if that's the title, but that's the words.
That's it.
And you singing, I'm grateful for things you've done for me. That's the only 2 songs. The only 2 songs. And I believe, I'm gonna check my phone when we get off. I believe I have a video of us when he was a little baby playing that you've been good to me. And he just calm down. So God gave me, we share a bond in music. C2 is my #1 fan. If he is in the middle of a scream and he hears my voice, it's over with. Even at his school, his teachers have my songs on the laptop so that when he starts to cut up, they play my music. And that's our bond. So God knows what he's doing. God knows what he's doing.
Oh my
Jeez.
goodness. I really hope that anybody watching, that may have even gone through something similar to Pastor Courtney and his family, that you're being encouraged by this, because we actually, I know that you have shared, some of that journey with C2 and just your children in general, your whole family, through your social media. And I think it's such an inspiration to anyone who may have gone through anything similar, but you treat him like the king that he is. And I think that is beautiful. One thing I wanted to ask you though is that, oftentimes we talk about the lessons that parents teach their children, and people can reach back and say, well, my father taught me this growing up, or my mother taught me this, and this has stuck with me. What life lessons do you feel like that your children have taught you, Pastor Courtney?
My children have taught me how to prioritize parenthood. Now I'm going to say this, and some people may push back on it, but I'm a pastor. I'm an aspiring artist, but I would give up both of those today, right in the middle of this interview, if it interfered with me being a daddy and a husband. It would be gone today. No qualms about it. I would cut grass. I would sell shoes. I would pick up cans. My family is the most important priority in my life. And #1, because God requires it of me. But #2, I'm not a big advocate for what I'm against. I'm an advocate for what I'm for. And so in a world where family is such a joke because everybody cheats and everybody's negligent and everybody's, got a boo and a side piece and all that, I don't want to get up and preach about all of the people know who they sleeping with. They know who they cheating with. I want to be the guy who everybody says, one thing about him, he not cheating on that wife. One thing about him, he loves those kids.
Yeah.
Now, forget what you heard, forget the rumors. I'm telling you, I know him. I've observed his life. This is who he is. So that's what I'm working to have my testimony of who I am before I die. Family is important to God. The Bible is a story about a father that wanted to extend his family. And so, because I'm made in his image, it has to be my disposition. My wife gets on my nerves sometimes, but not enough for me to step out on her. My kids drive me up a wall sometimes, but not enough for me not to tuck them in at night. Every one of them. Every one of them. I don't care if I get home off the road at 2 a.m. I'm going to look in C2's room. I'm going to look in Coco's room. Now, I don't go to Zoe's room because she lives upstairs and it's too far and I'm old. But I make sure she's good the next day. But my babies, I'm going to their room every night. Sometimes in the middle of the night, I go in because the doctor told us C2 have seizures forever. So I go in and I lay hands on him in the middle of the night, even though he's fine, and just decree and declare that he's going to have a peaceful sleep. I love being a daddy. I love being a husband. I told my church, and I'm done with this, I've never had one day in almost 8 years of being with my wife that I dreaded coming home. Never.
Yeah.
I love it. So I want that to be infectious, that everybody that's gifted is not nasty. That everybody that's gifted is not promiscuous. That everybody that's gifted is not, all of the stuff that is typically put on us. And you don't have to bash other people to just be a light yourself.
But I have to talk about, or I have to ask you about the Power Spot Church. I went and I watched some of you guys' services, and your service reminds me of home. The way your church is the kind of church that I would join. It's not your normal church. At any given moment, a shout gonna break out. You know what I'm saying? We gonna get a good message from you. You know what I'm saying? We gonna get good singing, and you don't always come in suited and booted. I absolutely love that. But when you do come in, you're gonna be sharp and clean. Now you gonna give us fashion. I think you wash your car in fashion. I think you pump your gas in fashion. I don't think I've ever seen you. I don't think I've ever
So
seen you like clean from head to toe.
Mignon, you travel with me and I love clothes. I love clothes. But one of the things that I promised God when he told me to pastor, because be clear, I was 17 years in education, 7 years as a high school administrator. I was not thinking about pastoring.
Wow.
Not thinking about it. Okay. So the Lord says, quit the job, start the church. Well, we were in March when he told me to quit the job, and school ended in May. So I'm like, I'm not quitting in March, God. I'm just gonna, ride this out. C2 was born in April. Had to quit. So I was starting the church when I was at the NICU every day. We were starting the church at the NICU. I was getting ready in the hospital bathroom to go preach on Sunday and coming back to my son as soon as I left church, eating hospital food for dinner. But that's another story. So I promised God when I started the church that I would be unorthodox. Here I am with this degree set. So you can't come in and big boy me with being learned because I've been to school multiple times. But I still wanted to be so relevant that a person who didn't finish high school would feel comfortable. So I don't do a dress code. I may preach in Jordans this week, and the next week I may preach in a tailored suit because I want everyone to feel connected to our environment. So at our church, we have 4 generations, all active, because we may sing, Father, I stretch my hands to thee, in the same service would I give myself away, in the same service with Work It Out by Ty Tribbett. So I promise to be that. And then I promise God that even though I know the principles of preaching, that I would be a relevant. So I have a slogan, and I say this to my pastor friends, that I study deep and I present shallow. I want to know what I'm saying, but I want to present it as if a person that doesn't know anything about Greek and Hebrew can understand it. I think that's my niche as a preacher. That is as deep as y'all would want to get with translations and alliterations. I just want the people to know how to go to the mailbox in the morning and not panic because the light bill is $4 more than it was last month. So I love our church. After being a family man, my church is next. I counsel every week. I counsel
Wow.
every week. I call them personally and check on them. We have 250 members. Now, that's not a mega church, but to keep up with 250 people is a lot. But every person at my church has my personal number. And I know Pastor saying, I wouldn't give them people my number. Well, if you just set healthy boundaries, they can have your number. I'm not answering my phone after a certain time. If somebody died, I can't bring them back to life. So in the morning, I'm gonna call you to see who has the body. Are you okay? So I set the boundaries, but the people at my church have accessibility to me. I'm not a pop culture pastor. I'm a grassroots pastor. I want them to know that the shepherd is willing to smell like sheep because this position is important to me. And I have a what should I call it, man? I have a thing, let's call it a thing for lack of a better term right now, where I'm priding myself on this is my 6th year as a pastor, and I've never violated the sheep, sexually manipulated them out of money. I've never crossed the line. I've never inboxed inappropriate. I've never hugged inappropriate. I want them all to feel like I'm their spiritual father, that I can have safety when I talk to him. I don't even discuss with my wife what I talk about in a counseling session. I'm their pastor. My wife ain't signed up to be no pastor. So she doesn't have that burden.
Yeah.
She can take care of me. She can make sure that my kids are straight. She don't have to fool with people and their attitudes and their up and down. That's what I signed up for. So I love the power. So I could talk about them forever. I love them. I love them.
Oh,
It's crazy. Go ahead, Corey.
I was just gonna say, study deep, present shallow.
Love it.
That resonated, and I mean, it's obvious. Me and Jan and I were talking about that. We were talking about the fact that you are a tangible pastor, and oftentimes you don't see that. You see pastors, they do what they have to do, and once they say amen, they're gone. But for you to be a tangible pastor, I think that's so important because people need that leadership. They need that guidance from their spiritual father or their spiritual mother. So that is awesome. So this is so good, and I hate to do it again, but we do need to pause
Gotta
for
go
a
to
quick
break.
break. But we will be right back with more tea and worship with none other than Pastor Courtney Franklin. Do not go anywhere.
There's a decline in blood donations. Talk to us about why should we give blood?
When you donate, you save 3 lives. So I think this is a great thing. Like your platelets, your whole blood, and your plasma is split up. So it's not going directly to one patient, but it's actually being split up and it's going to 3 different patients.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
All right, everybody, we are back with more tea and worship with Mignon and Corey. And of course, Pastor Courtney Franklin is our guest today. Now, Pastor Franklin, this is a segment of our show where we love to have fun with our guests. It is called Church That Hook. Now, Church That Hook is where we take a song that is not a gospel song and we have our guests to church it up. Now, you can put some worship on it. You can put the quartet spin on it, CCM, however you want to do it, whatever you're feeling. We want you to church that up. So the song that we have for you is "End of the Road" by Boys to Men.
Hold on. Okay. Okay. Let me see. How would I? I'm gonna try to quartet it, Mignon. I know that's your background. Okay. Although we've come, Lord, to the end of the road. Although we've come to the end of the road. It's a natural, natural. You belong to me, and I belong. I say I belong. I belong to you. I belong to you.
Oh my God. Mignon,
Yes.
you know what I'm mad about though, for real, is the fact that we are not in studio with you, because we
Yep.
would have definitely sung that with
In
you. We would have
background.
been your backup singers. Golly. Oh my God.
Absolutely.
So before we go, Pastor Franklin, could you please share with everyone, one, how they can reach you on social media, and also what you have coming up? We know one thing that you have coming up soon, but could you just share that with the people before we go?
Sure, you can find me on social media, Instagram, the Courtney Franklin, and y'all follow me on Instagram because I'm trying to get my numbers better on Instagram. I'm not really an Instagram guy. I am a Facebook guy, and on my Facebook platform, I have a lot of people. But Instagram, I'm trying to get used to, and I need to do better with Instagram. So follow me on there, the Courtney Franklin. On Facebook as well, my artist page, the Courtney Franklin, and on Twitter, Courtney FR. All right. And coming up, I have a lot of dates, appearances that I'm doing now that some Bishop is setting up for me. Some I am just getting in the grind mode of being and having new music out. I want to encourage everyone that has new music out or has new music coming out to not be grand. Get out there and work. If Mary still have to promote a record, if Kirk Franklin still has to promote a record, you do too. So get out there and grind, and don't wait for it to come to you. Go get it. There's space for all of us. There's space for everybody. We don't have to be competitive. It's kingdom. We can share, but we got to get out there and work. So be on the lookout for the things that are coming down the pipeline for me this year. I'm excited about it.
You see how he told us what's coming up, and he left us with an encouraging word? You got to get out there and grind. I love it. Man, we thank you so much, Pastor Courtney Franklin, for just being with us today, sharing your tea. And of course, we have coming up that worship. He is going to perform for us right here on our show, give us a live performance. But we want to make sure that y'all continue to watch us every Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Hope TV. Please keep rocking out with me and Mignon, because we want to share this with you. I know that y'all enjoyed this interview, and you're going to enjoy this performance. So make sure you come back next week and see us for more tea and worship.
Lord, you promised to give us peace if we